Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin'. We just got the call from Hennessy Outdoors that my brand new Skeeter FXR 21 is done with rigging. We're gonna head in there and pick it up. Let's go have a look. Here it is, the brand new Skeeter FXR 21. I am so excited about how this boat turned out. And also, welcome to the inside of Hennessy Outdoor Electronics. I know a lot of you follow them on social media. Most of you have never had a chance to come down here. This is the most incredible rigging shop I have ever been in. My entire life, I rigged all my own boats, so I would know where everything is. When Tim and I moved to Dayton, Tennessee, and we found out that this shop was in our same town, that was the last time that I rigged a boat. Their work is incredible. This is an amazing shop. Let's go ahead and start in the back of the boat. I haven't even been inside it yet, but we did a ton of time planning the layout for this boat. So I'm really excited to see it myself and to show it to you guys as well. We'll start in the back. We'll just work our way forward so you can see what we'll be running this year. This is my third Skeeter FXR 21. I love this hull. I love the handling in rough water. I love the layout, and I love the fact that it is powered by this motor right here. Starting at the back of the boat, this to me is the most important part of the entire thing. This is a Yamaha SHO 250. For those of you that have known Tim and I for a long time, you've seen us through multiple boats. Yamaha is the theme of everything that we do. I hate to curse it. I hate to even say it out loud, but from the first time I ever started running a show, no joke, I have never had a mechanical failure. Not one in all the years. It is the most reliable motor that I have ever run. And frankly, I would run almost any hull. I wouldn't care if it's a 21, a 20, what model it is. As long as there's a brand new Yamaha on the back of it, that reliability is critical for Tim and I. The way we fish constantly, travel constantly, knowing that we can make that extra run, that we can run offshore, that we can run through those waves, that we're going to make it back to the ramp at the end of the day is everything. That reliability is just so important to your day in and day out. Having that in the back of your mind that there won't be an issue, that you're always going to be okay, completely frees everything so you can focus on the fishing that's in front of you. Now, in addition to that, back here on the back of the boat, we've got Raptors. The Raptors are amazing. Shallow water anchors. There was probably one, I don't know that there's anything else that is less understood on a bass boat when you pull into a gas station. I'm sure if you have them on your boat, hundreds of times people stop you at the gas station. What are those things? The purpose of Raptors is to deploy, stick the bottom, and keep that boat in place. So when you're fishing shallow, you want to pick apart cover. It's just a silent way that you can stop the boat, make repeat casts, and then silently lift up, scoot up, and repeat. They're incredibly reliable. They're just a great piece of equipment that we use day in and day out. We've also got a hydraulic jack plate on here, which is a must. That just gives you the ability when we're going in and out of shallow water. I've fished in boats, I've owned boats with, and I've owned boats without a hydraulic plate. The hydraulic plate, if you're in shallows a lot, allows you to go much, much faster because you can lift the motor higher, then run it flatter, and you can travel quicker. If you don't have a hydraulic plate, you can go all the same places, but you've got your motor lifted so high that you go very, very slowly. These are just the little things that make a big difference in your day-to-day fishing. All right, let's open up these battery compartments and have a look inside. This battery compartment turned out incredibly. It was not that long ago that we were struggling to figure out how to fit a fourth battery in the back of a bass boat. What we have in here today is a 5 battery setup with a ton of room left over. It's incredible. So what we are running for our trolling motor, these are Dakota Lithium 135 amp hour, 12 volt batteries. So some people will run a single 36. I still prefer to run 3 12 volt batteries to create 36 volt. That's so that if I'm on the road, if I'm out in the backwoods someplace, it's much easier to diagnose and to work with a 12-volt system that you've built up to 36 than it is to try and find a replacement 36-volt part. It's just too hard to do when you're out on the road. So for me, 3 12-volt batteries is still the way to go. We've got a Minn Kota Precision 5-bank charger in here. I have never had a hiccup out of that charger. It is just such a great setup. My motor, my cranking battery to run that motor is an AGM. Yamaha asks that you run an AGM battery for that, and I have had no issues there. And then that last battery, that's a Dakota Lithium 320 amp hour battery. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That is way overkill. That's all there is to it. It's ridiculous. But I'll tell you why I've done that. This is the second year that I've run one of those batteries, the second boat that I have had it in. One of the things that I struggle with or have struggled in the past with on the water that just terrorized me was low voltage. Modern electronics, you run a lot of screens, you're running a lot of accessories, there's all sorts of gear in the boat, and of course you're floating in the middle of the lake, so power is at a premium, right? You can't get more. Low voltage is every bass fisherman's worst nightmare. When I found that I could put a 320 amp hour battery into the back of the boat and it fits the same footprint as a standard 31 group battery, that changed everything. It has been years now since I've had a low voltage alarm go off. Now, why did I go that large? Why 320? Very simple. Tim and I don't fish at home very often. We are constantly on the road, sometimes together, sometimes solo, sometimes with our families, but we are always on the road. And if you've ever traveled with a bass boat going through hotels, you know the endless struggle to be able to find a place to plug in, to get power, to charge that boat. It is, you go hotel to hotel to hotel sometimes looking for a place to plug in. This resolved that for us. So for Tim and I, jumping up to a battery of that size allows us to go 3 days without charging. If I get to a hotel tonight and there's a place to plug in, awesome. But if not, I don't care. We're going to dinner and we're going fishing again tomorrow. For our lifestyle, for the way that we fish and the way that we travel, that is everything. It has made such a difference in my day-to-day fishing and boating. Then the last thing back here to really see is this. This is the first place where you really see the Hennessy rigging difference. They have pulled almost all the stock wiring out of the back of this boat. These guys, their attention to detail is like nothing else I have ever seen. I said in the beginning that I rigged all my own boats for years. All the full rewires of bass boats, every wire out, every wire back in. Did it all myself. Did it with friends. Because I needed, as a guide and as someone who's traveling, I need to know where everything is so that if there's an issue, I can find it and I can fix it. When we met Brigg Hennessy and we came in this shop, we were blown away. We don't do any of our own rigging now because their rigging is so superior to what we can do ourselves. Everything is clean. Everything is tight, everything is labeled. I can jump in a boat I've never been in and diagnose a problem just by reading the labels in the boat. It's incredible. And then the little details. The top of one Raptor has a rigging light on it. The top of the other Raptor has a nav light on it. It's just amazing. This battery compartment, I could not be happier with how this thing has turned out. All right, let's work our way forward and we'll just keep checking this boat out. Here we are at the console. This is where you really start to see my personality and my fishing style showing up. So if you buy a used boat, you're sort of locked into what is already existing. But if you ever have the opportunity to purchase a new boat, you get to make some decisions. You get to create a layout that fits your fishing style. And I tend to be very simple in my fishing style. Now, in all fairness, the simple of today is very different than the simple of 10 or 20 years ago, but I keep it very clean from here forward, very clean, very simple, uncluttered. That is what is important to me. Here at the console, the biggest thing to notice is that I'm running 2 Apex 13s. To some people, there's nothing simple about that at all. But you need to understand that 8 years ago, Tim and I were running 15-inch screens. I have been going smaller when the bass boat world as a whole, the fishing world, has been going to larger and larger screens, more electronics. I'm going the other direction. I try to keep a very simple approach to my fishing. Now, these Humminbird Apex 13s are a very high-end unit, an HD screen. They are incredible. The reason why I run Apex 13s, the 13 is the smallest unit that I can run and still get an HDMI out. So when Tim and I are filming content, we need to be able to pull what's in this unit out so that we can show it to you without shadows and glare and all those things. So these are actually the smallest units that I'm able to run to be able to do what I need to do effectively. But these 13-inch units allow me an incredible line of sight over the top of them. And that is very important to me. Just that daily safety as I'm running the boat. I don't want my vision impeded at all. I want to be able to see what's going on. I want to be able to take it all in, avoid any issues that might come up. That's very important to me personally. In addition to the units, we are running the Hennessy outdoor brackets. The brackets and knobs are not stock. They are dropped brackets. So they run 1 inch lower than stock, which brings these screens down even further and gives me an incredible clear field of view. The only other major change here over the boat that I've been driving is that we've gone to a touch screen for all of our controls. And frankly, this is my first time sitting in the boat, so it's going to take me a few minutes to sit and get to know it, but that touch screen is going to control everything in this boat. All right, we're up here at the business end of the boat. This is where I spend the vast majority of my time. Again, individual anglers have different fishing styles and different personalities. I'm not the guy who spends endless time sitting at my console graphing. Of course I use side imaging, of course I use down imaging, but I don't live and breathe sitting in that seat. I spend the majority of my time standing on that front deck. The first thing up here is that front deck. I have not fished out of this boat yet, but I spent the last 2 years fishing out of an FXR 21, and this deck is incredible. Number one, it is a padded deck, which is amazing. I'm not as young as I once was, and I'll tell you what, it is a lot easier for me to get through a day of fishing when I'm standing on a padded deck. But the biggest thing for me, the reason I choose the FXR 21 over the 20, because that's a choice that everybody's got to make. I go with the larger boat because of, one, the rough water ride. All you give up is a couple of miles an hour on the top end. So the FXR 20 is about 2 miles an hour faster. So you give that up to get a more stable ride. You're gapping across larger waves because the boat is just that much longer. And then the deck, and it's the front of the deck, is significantly larger. That's where you see that length extension. Why does that matter? Because when I'm on an FXR 21 and I lay my rods out on the deck, I am completely in front of them when I'm up here fishing. I stand completely ahead of my rods. I can stand anywhere up here with no rod butts underneath my feet getting in the way. That is huge. That created 3 to 5 times the usable space, the fishable space on the front of the boat for me. And that is why this specific model fits me so well. I can pile the rods up and they're not giving me any trouble. Now, let's talk about the actual layout of the front of this boat, because I have spent years simplifying, cleaning it up. If you looked at my boat 5 years ago, 6, 8 years ago, the amount of clutter up here was ridiculous. We were running 15-inch screens, 16-inch screens, and again, it's fishing style. There are people today running 22-inch screens. I'm not one of those guys. It's all about your fishing style. So up here at the front of the boat, I am again running Humminbird Apex 13s, 2 units. Same as at the console. At the console, I use 1 unit for all of my either side imaging, down imaging, my 2D sonar, The other one is dedicated to my mapping. When I'm running, safety is paramount to me. I run a full-size mapping screen so that I can see everything. Up here at the front of the boat, it's the exact same thing. If I want to run live on a particular day, I have one unit that runs live. My other unit will be a split screen of 2D sonar and a map. That's how I run on those days. On the days where I'm not running live, I'm fishing shallow, I don't need it, whatever it might be, I have one unit that is running 2D sonar. My other unit, again, is a dedicated map. For my fishing style, I use all of the modern electronics, but our styles for each angler is different. And for me, I'm just not a screen watcher. Do I use live? Absolutely. When the time is right, I use it, but a 13-inch screen gives me all of the clarity, all of the picture that I need to be able to do that effectively. I don't need a giant monitor like I used to run. So I have been downsizing to these two 13s. And again, my visibility from the console over the top of those units is amazing. I have the best clarity, the best view when I'm driving the boat that I've had in my entire life. Now, in addition to those two Apexes there, of course, we are running a Minn Kota Quest trolling motor. The Quest is unbelievable. The brushless trolling motor is amazing. So I have run an Ultrex since the day Ultrexes first came out. When I discovered spot lock, there's no going back, right? Anybody who's ever spot locked a boat never goes back. Last year, we got the opportunity to run the Quest motor for the first time. Quest is all of those same things that we love, but that brushless motor is quieter and has even more power. It's incredible. There's no downside to that motor. I am so impressed with that trolling motor. And then bolted to that, of course, we have 360. Some days we're sitting stationary. We need 360 to be able to ID exactly what we're looking at, how the structures around us lay out. And then I've got the target lock turret with Live 2 on it. Now, why do I run all of that? Why the target lock? The Live 2 speaks for itself, right? In today's world, if you've got a bass boat, almost every bass boat on the planet has some sort of forward-facing sonar on it. I run mine on the target lock because I live on the Tennessee River. When I'm in a fishery like this, where there's current, that's the number one place I use the turret. Day in and day out, I tell my target lock just to follow the foot pedal or follow the trolling motor. So every time my trolling motor turns, the target lock just follows it. So it's as if that live was just mounted onto the shaft of the trolling motor. But when I get into current situations, when I'm in the river, when I'm fishing offshore, when I'm ledge fishing, where I want to spot lock and then have the ability to take the target lock, the motor is locked, but the target lock can now take that live and look around separate of one another. The ability to have both options in one simple setup is amazing. Again, I have simplified, but simple today is not the simple of the past. The biggest thing that I've simplified for me is that I've cleaned this front deck. I no longer have stomp switches up here. So with the Quest, we get a button on our trolling motor that you can assign, that One Boat Network button, you can assign that button to do different functions. And I set that button to run my Raptors. So I don't even have stomp switches on the front deck. The only thing I've got on the front deck is, and we haven't even mounted it down yet, is my Mega Live Control. That's to turn my target lock, and it will be up there in that corner. That's the only thing that's even on my deck anymore. Everything else is free and clear, open fishing space. I love this platform. The last few years fishing out of an FXR 21 is the most content I have been on a bass boat in my entire life. The layout is great. I have fallen in love with it. And again, it's still powered by that Yamaha Show, and I just never have problems. This is my brand new Skeeter FXR 21. Now, for those of you that are wondering why on earth we're already running a brand new boat, that is the craziest part of all. So a couple of years ago, when Tim and I bought those first Skeeters, we got the opportunity to meet some of the people at both Skeeter and Yamaha, just incredible people, and we've built an amazing relationship with them since then. Because of you guys, and for no other reason, because of your support, because of how much you have embraced Tactical Bassin, Tim and I have had the opportunity to join the Skeeter and Yamaha team. And that is mind-blowing to me. It is nothing short of a miracle that for us two guys to have an opportunity like that is incredible. Thank you. There's no other way around it. Thank you, because that is because of each one of you. And we are so grateful for that. We are so excited to get out on the water in this brand new boat, to get out, start chasing some fish. We've got a motor to go break in, and then we'll get to it. Guys, we appreciate you so much. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.